Hello guys and welcome back to another video, and today we have Dapol versus Accurascale. So we have the Dapol Dinmore Manor and the Accurascale Hinton Manor, and we're just going to run through similarities, differences, stuff like that, give them both a run, and from that conclude which is the best. So there won't be anything mechanical necessarily in this because I don't strip locos apart for videos, but it's not really relevant anyway. So we'll just be running through the details of the locomotives more than anything, and their running performance, etc. They are different liveries, but it does show a broad range of the finishes for the locomotives and stuff like that. But they are both different liveries. But we have 7819 and 7820. But we will run through what's good and what's bad about both locos, because no loco is perfect, and they do have their differences that are sometimes not so positive and some that are. So we'll run through what those are, and then I'll get onto the running later on. So it's more a matter of the detail differences, if there is any, but both locos are pretty much identical. So in terms of what details I have, they are pretty much identical. So if I bring Hinton forward slightly, so you can see both locos. So in terms of the details, they're all pretty much the same. I would say everything's slightly finer on the Accurascale locomotive. There's a little bit more between the frame detail, as you can see in there. But it does stand out really well on Dinmore because the locomotive is black. But it is also a lot more. There is more in there. The reverser rod on the Accurascale is much better. It's metal finished, and it just looks well more accurate and well more sturdy, whereas it's really it's plastic on the Dapol one. It's a little bit more flimsy and a little bit less detailed. So that's one place that they differ. They both got copper top chimneys. Now it's better on the Accurascale. You can see the shine is much better. But one place that the Dapol Manor does exceed is with the plated safety valve bonnet, and it is super high shine and it looks fantastic. And I just wish that this, with its die-cast boiler, could have had a gold plate, like a fully plated style chrome topped safety valve bonnet. But it still looks brilliant though. It's still got a shine to it. It's just nowhere near as effective as this, unfortunately. In terms of liveries, well, I can't really say anything about them because they're both different. But in terms of their actual finish, the metal body of the Hinton Manor by Accurascale does mean it has a slightly better finish on the top of the boiler, and the matte smoke box is firstly accurate to how locos usually are, but also looks fantastic. In terms of the riveted detail across the locomotive, there is a hell of a lot more than there is on the Dapol locomotive. You can see there's a lot less. It's a little bit dusty. I do apologise about that. The wheels are also slightly different. So you've got cast metal wheels with the realistic centres. You have the wheels on here which do have tyres around them, so like metal tyres with the plastic wheels instead, with accurate axles, but they are more realistic. Well, they look more realistic than those. So there's not much difference between the two really in that aspect. Big difference is with the tender couplings. So Dapol's is super simple. It's just a pull and push fit. It's dead easy. You can probably do it one-handed and pull the two locos apart. There you go. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. And then all you have to do is reverse that process and push the locos back together, if I can. It's quite difficult when you're doing it with a camera in your hand and it is out of focus, but we're straight in together. Nice and easy. There you go. Locos connected. You've got full pickups working, etc. Superb design, and all of their locos follow that now, and it is brilliant. The Accurascale locomotive, on the other hand, has a traditional sort of tender coupling, which has actually come off. So I'm now running the loco using its wires, which is not what you want. I don't know if you actually saw anything I did then. But I'm trying to couple the tenders together. So, you see that there? It's pulling on the wires. So those wires are also really, really high up, and it just looks a bit silly. When it's close coupled, it looks okay. Doesn't look so bad, but I can't actually couple that together now. See what I mean? The simplistic nature of the Dapol coupling system is just so much easier to use and just so much more convenient. You can also take your tender off as well. It has the pop-out smoke box, which I'm not going to use, but that's for the GCC decoder, so you don't even have to take the body off the GCC chip the locomotive. Super easy, super simple. So from a servicing point of view, the Dapol Loco is a bit more superior because it's just easier to use, easier to maintain if you have to do that. But I would say from a looks perspective and a detail perspective, Hinton Manor is on top there. Cab wise, there's not much in it. I would say slightly better cab on the Accurascale with the cab floor done, whereas it's not been done in the Dapol one. In terms of the tenders, yeah, they're just tenders. They're both pretty much identical in terms of their levels of detail, etc. The only thing that the Dapol Loco doesn't have is the cool gimmick of the water tank cap opening. But yeah, it doesn't have that gimmick. So that's the two then. So just a brief rundown of the two locos. Now, the Accurascale on the whole is the best locomotive in terms of its detail and its finish and the way it looks, and the way it's presented in terms of its amazing level of finesse, etc. However, the Dapol does have a couple of winning features. So, for example, this and the tender coupling and the serviceability of the locomotive, it is the one on top. In terms of prices, they're actually not too dissimilar anymore because the Dapol ones have gone up slightly and the Accurascale ones have stayed flat at 170, but you can get them slightly cheaper than that. So it varies, it swings and roundabouts. This is a Dapol exclusive, website exclusive. So you have to pay the full whack for this. You can't get retail price for the Dapol Dinmore Manor. So it's they're about the same. So they're even Stevens. But we're now going to go down onto the track and we will run the locomotives, and I will then from that conclude which is the best runner. So let's get to it. So there they are on the track, and they look fantastic together as well. This is always been the setup I wanted for Manors. So I've had a green Dinmore Manor and a green Hinton Manor before, but they were old ones, and I've always wanted the Accurascale Hinton and the Dapol Dinmore being the exclusive to Dapol in the collection together. So that's pretty much complete the Manor collection now. So that's that. Quick note: the Accurascale locomotive, I would say, from just holding them, is the heaviest, being mainly built of diecast, whereas the Dapol is predominantly plastic construction, so it is a little bit lighter. And the quality comes across a little bit better with the metal, because metal just feels a bit more quality in the hand. But not too bad at all. The coupling rods, I think, are also a little bit nicer on the Accurascale locomotive rather than the Dapol. I think it's slightly more accurate in its representation as well, and it just looks a little bit more fine. So, in terms of running, we will start off with the Dapol. So, if you've watched the review of the Accurascale one, you will remember it didn't run the best in slow speed. But look at that. That is look how slow that is. It is actually running as well. It is actually moving. We do that ultra slow backwards as well. Look at that. So yeah, I can say just from that the Dapol has the far superior slow speed performance. It is super silky smooth as well. It's not too bad at all. So it is smooth, and it does run incredibly slowly. So yeah, Nice and punchy, that. So, now for the Accurascale loco, which I'm going to bring into shot. So, the problem you have with the Accurascale loco, this is the closest you're going to get to the wheel set. On any form of controller, the motor's catching power, it jumps, and then that's it. I can't get any stops. So I can't actually get it any slower than that, really, without it cutting out. I mean, it is incredibly smooth when it is running, and I would say it's slightly quieter and probably slightly smoother than the Dapol, but the Dapol has a much more impressive slow speed performance than the Accurascale by far and away. So from that, I would say the Dapol wins on the slow speed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hook loads of coaches up and I'm going to double head them for the video, and we'll have a bit of a running session with them. Right, I've decided to do one individually because it just gives you a better representation of the locomotives themselves. So we'll run the Accurascale first. I will say the Accurascale's firebox glow is better. It's a lot brighter though. It's just, in terms of brightness, it's better. But it's beautifully smooth, super quiet loco, as you'll have seen from the review. Look at how bright that is. I mean, it looks fantastic at the Dapol one. It's a great locomotive. It's really a question of how much of the accuracy you want, whether you value the accuracy enough to want to get the Accurascale over the Dapol. I do understand if you would do that, because the Accurascale is absolutely stunning. Just look at it. It is beautiful, but there's not really much difference in price, and each one has their own differences and stuff like that. So it's just a question of which one you'd rather have, isn't it? Both from two fantastic manufacturers of model railways as well. Both great companies. It is just weird that two came to the market at the same time, pretty much. So it's just a bit odd, but we probably didn't need to. It's just which side are you on? It's like left Twix and right Twix. But it's beautiful though, absolutely stunning. I'm not going to run it for too long because we've obviously ran it in the running session. But not in the running session, in the review. So we will get to the Dapol one now. So this is the Dapol one now, so let's run this. Not as quiet. It's actually geared slightly. It's not as fast running. You've got to turn the control up to get it going a little bit faster. I'm on half speed and it looks slower. It is also, like when I sort of put it on the track, I was like, yeah, this is a lot lighter than the Accurascale one. But it looks fantastic running though. I do like it a lot. I adore this thing. So it looks alright with those coaches as well. Technically not prototypical because it's a BR livery, but prototypical. It makes some funny noises though, this loco. Only when it's cornering. But yeah, it is nice. It is gorgeous. Not, maybe not as gorgeous as the Accurascale one though. Yeah, you can't really see the firebox glow. You just probably see it as it was slightly blurred out there. It's nowhere near as bright. And they are, like, the fires are very bright. You can see them. Especially at night. So, yeah, it's quite dim. So it isn't as cool feature as the as this one, because even though, well, it's obviously not turned on, but it's very bright when it does turn on. So, but yeah, it does look fantastic though, and that safety valve bonnet is just awesome. So that will do us then, and that is a quick head-to-head between the Dapol and Accurascale Manors, as a sequel to the Dapol versus Mainline versus Backman that I did a long time ago. Link is in the description to that if you'd like to see that. So what are my conclusions? So, is it Accurascale or is it Dapol? Well, I would say Accurascale just screams through over the Dapol. So, reasoning. The Accurascale is the nicer locomotive in terms of its detail, its finesse, it's fully die cast, and you probably get a little bit more for your money with that. The firebox glow is incredible. The running, it's super smooth and it's super quiet and it's lovely. It's very powerful. It's very heavy. It's a great locomotive. The Dapol, however, does have its wins. As I've mentioned, the safety valve bonnet looks fantastic, the serviceability, the tender coupling, and it actually does have a superb slow speed, and the Accurascale's one is quite poor. So it swings and roundabouts, so they do have their positives. I would just say that the finish isn't as good, and the finesse of the detail and the level of detail on the Dapol is slightly inferior, and just in terms of its overall running characteristics are slightly less, therefore the Accurascale gets the win. It specifically deserves it with that matte smoke box as well because it looks superb. You can just see the finish here. Like, you can see how much better that looks with the shine on it there compared to this, and that's not just because that's black and that's green, that's just because of the materials they're made of that causes that to happen naturally. So yeah, that is the quick head-to-head between those two. I hope you did enjoy. If you disagree or have any opinions about which one you prefer, please comment down below. I do read all your comments as and when I can, because obviously I do run 2 channels, so I can't always be on one channel all the time. But I do go back to check for comments, and I will reply to them. So if you have any questions or any statements, what you would like to say about these 2 locomotives, which one you find your favourite of the 2, please comment below, and anything that you think I have missed as well, possibly. But obviously I did say it was brief. The only other thing is, I will mention, the numbers on the BR Dapol locos are too small. Dapol on the BR Manors on the front of the smoke box. But that's only if you're in terms of accuracy. If you got a BR liveried Accurascale loco, it would be accurate. So that is another area where they win. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you very soon for some more videos. Goodbye.